Hi, my name's Kelly Thornton and I am a civil litigation tutor at Spires. I've tutored hundreds of students for the civil litigation bar exams over the last 5 years at Spires, and in this video I'm going to explain to you how to achieve the top grades for the civil litigation exam. The first thing to bear in mind for the civil litigation exam is it's all about preparation. So my first top tip is about time management. The civil litigation exam is predominantly based on the White Book, which is split into civil procedure rules and then practice directions and commentary points. It's very important that you remember the civil procedure rules are what they say on the tin, rules. Those have to be followed, and those are the key things that you need to be memorising. The commentary points are explanations of how those rules work in practice. They don't need to be memorised, but they do need to be understood. The full syllabus can be found on the BSB website, so you need to make sure that every rule you're learning and every commentary point you're reading is on the syllabus for the year that you're taking the exam. It's also worth remembering that quarterly supplements are issued for the White Book, which you should have access to on Westlaw or LexisNexis or in hard copy through your bar provider. Making sure you've kept up to date with the rules that are actually going to apply for your exam syllabus is very important. They don't often change substantially, but when they do, you need to make sure you're aware of it and make sure you're aware of which version of the rules is being assessed in your exam. If you get that right at the start of your bar course, then the process of time management becomes a lot easier. You need to make sure you're keeping up with your reading and consolidating your notes week by week, as well as practicing past exam papers and multiple choice questions as you go, because you will often have classes right up until your exam. There is very rarely a big gap between your last civil litigation class and your civil litigation exam. That will depend on your provider, and it will depend on whether you're a part-time or a full-time student. However, often the gap is a lot smaller than you will be used to from your GDL or LLB studies. So you need to assume that you're going to have to learn and consolidate as you go, and any time you have left at the end can be used to practice past papers and to patch up any particularly weak areas that you have. The second tip is in relation to the civil litigation process. The good thing about the civil litigation exam, despite its complexity and the need to really work on your memory and your recall skills, is that civil litigation is effectively one linear process. So focus on each topic and where it falls in the process of civil litigation, starting with limitation periods and initial advice to your client, and then moving through issuing your statements of case, so your claim form, particulars of claim, the response from the defendant, remembering, of course, before you start issuing claims, you need to think about your pre-action protocols, ADR, costs, and any other advice that your client might need before you start litigation, and then moving into the strict timelines of filing and serving your claim form, particulars of claim, response pack. Then you can switch to the defendant's point of view. What does the defendant need to do? Are they acknowledging service? Are they issuing a defence statement? Are they issuing an admission? Then we move to track allocation and interim applications. Which interim applications do you need to consider for your particular case? Think about things like security for costs, interim payments, interim injunctions, summary judgment, default judgment, strikeout orders, etc. And then as we get towards trial, how does your client need to prepare for trial? Are there issues where you might require witness summons? Are you relying on hearsay evidence? Are you relying on evidence from a foreign jurisdiction? Are you relying on evidence from other proceedings, etc.? And then finally, which civil process are you in? Are you in the High Court or the County Court? And what does that process look like? Who speaks in which order? How does oral examination of witnesses work in civil courts? And then finally, appeals. Make sure you focus on each stage and where it fits in within the process. If there are particular areas that are your weaker areas, make sure you consolidate that information and patch that up as you're going through your course, rather than leaving it to the end, because an issue in one topic may snowball into issues in further topics when you realise how interlinked those procedural steps are. My final tip relates to multiple choice question practice. Multiple choice questions are much harder than they initially seem. Yes, the right answer is always in front of you. However, a lot of the answers are very similar. So my advice would be read the question 2 or 3 times, then decide what you think the answer is. If, for example, you think the answer's A, rather than ticking A and moving on, focus on why is it not B, not C, not D, and not E. If you can eliminate all the other answers, then you can be confident you've got the right answer and you can move on. If you can't eliminate all the other answers, narrow them down as much as possible. Never guess unless you have absolutely no option. If you're guessing, make sure you're guessing between 2 answers rather than 5 to increase your statistical likelihood of getting the right answer. If you're down to 2 answers, focus on the difference between the 2. The difference will often be linguistic. For example, answer A might say the judge must order this particular thing in this circumstance, versus answer B saying the judge may order. Remember, in civil litigation, it's very rare to have completely mandatory rules. In almost all circumstances, the judge has a discretion to do something else if they want to order otherwise, or unless it would be unjust to do so. So focus on the wording in those civil procedure rules that give the judges discretion or force their hand on a decision. If you're aware of that going into the exams, as you're going through your course, you'll start to notice the very rare exceptions where there is truly no discretion, and you can make a note of those as you go. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment below. Spires is the easiest, quickest way to find a pre-vetted tutor online for all your tuition needs, and to learn smarter, please use Spires. Thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.